Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name is Matt. I'm one of your co-hosts.
My name is Jericho. I'm a co-host of the Stranded Survivors podcast, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Raasclark. Raz, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you guys? Doing well?
Yeah, doing good.
Yes, sir.
Good, good.
It is so good to have you, man. Welcome. First off, want to take a second to say welcome. I know we've been chit-chatting before we started rolling, but officially welcome to Stranded Survivors.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man. I was saying it's cool to be on this side of the fence for a change and get an insight on what you guys are up to, what this is all about.
Yeah, it's a little bit different on this side, but, you know, you got the gist of it pretty much. We were saying earlier, it's like the same thing, you just don't have a camera in your face, so...
Which is weird. I'm always used to performing for the camera. It's one thing, you know, showing your emotions through voice. Like having a camera spare, it makes it so much easier sometimes for me. Yeah.
Man, well, Jericho, you want to get us rolling here?
Yeah. So, you know, I guess we're just gonna kind of hop straight into the question. You know, Raz, how did you get started with YouTube? You know, did you start out with Ark? Like, kind of how did you get started, man?
Straight there, diving in deep at the start. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, you know, this thing called YouTube came along. Everyone was interested in it. I was interested in it and wanted to do it, but, you know, had a regular working job, and, you know, that was it for the longest time, really. And then being an avid gamer for the longest time on top, Ark came around. Do you know what? I'd been invested in Ark way before I could play the game. Like back then, I only had a console, so I was eagerly awaiting. I was watching videos. It was the first one. In fact, I started watching Frankie on PC in 1080p. I don't know if you guys know him. Bit of an OG YouTuber now. He doesn't really do much content anymore, but he makes these great, almost machinima-like vids on DayZ.
Okay.
And he went and did 3 videos on Ark, and that sold it for me. That was it. That was enough for me to go, yo, this game looks good, man. And I was waiting. Originally, I was waiting for DayZ to come onto console, but Ark came along first. And yeah, dude, like before then, I was playing every game under the sun. Like you name it, I could talk about it. I could tell you about any game, any popular game up until the moment Ark came out. Nowadays, I've got no idea about anything. But yeah, this popular dinosaur game came to PlayStation. And yeah, day one, I was hooked, dude. I lived it. I breathed it. I played it like through official until Legacy died. And then ran my own. Well, in fact, no, I went and played a few unofficial servers, got kind of a good grasp of the unofficial experience. It was kind of like wowed by, you know, how you could customize, you know, Ark to tailor, you know, how you wanted to play it. So after doing that for a while and kind of like, you know, being a bit of an admin after a while after that, I decided to run my own server. And that went really well for about... Was it 2 years? I think it might have been 2 years. It was a long time. And it was a fairly popular unofficial cluster called Ark Energy on PlayStation. And kind of like as we was running that, I was doing the odd video, you know, just kind of showcasing events and that. And was just having a little go. I mean, these vids are awful now. I still got them. I cringe when I go back and watch them. But it was, you know, my first steps on kind of figuring out, you know, how to make videos. But at the same time, I used to be, the title was a graphic designer, but I really wouldn't call it that. I was like a glorified sign maker, right? But I did some cool other things on the side. I did some video editing. I used to work for, for a company and distributing advertisements to a bunch of different screens around venues. So I'd be like working on video editing there. So I'd got all that knowledge, right? And then I've got this game called Ark that I really enjoy, and I'm an invested actor. Like I really love performing. You know, from a young age, that was my bag. If I could have run with it, that's what I would have pursued. But you know, realistic parents said, "Come on, get a real job."
So you went to YouTube.
Well, and we'll get to that, right? Well, in fact, I now get to laugh at my mum and go, hey, all that time wasted playing video games. Haha. So, but yeah, man. So, like, you know, I loved acting as well. And I used to do like a little bit of, do you know these? They're all the rage nowadays, like zombie chase experiences. You know, I used to do a bit of that. So, you know, every couple of months, I'd be like the local, like, lunatic clown with a chainsaw chasing people or whatnot, and it was so much fun, dude. I could talk about that all day. But it's great fun watching a grown man like hyperventilate, like panting, shouting the safe word because I'm leering over him.
That's great, man.
So like shouting at him, want to play a game? And, like, it was the best.
We got Ark right here.
So yeah, that's it. So you say I got that right. I got the acting investment. Yep. I got the video editing. I got this game Ark, and then COVID came along. Right, this thing that like just froze the world for quite a while. And because I was working in the event industry, I knew my job was up before it was up. I was put on furlough, fortunately, so gave me essentially a 10-month respite to say, right, this is it. If I'm going to make a go of this, this is the opportunity. And I did. I threw myself into it and just worked hard. Got a lot of advice, like shout out to Jade Plays Games. He helped me a load early on, gave me a lot of advice and a lot of ways to tackle it. And in fact, that was kind of my entry, right? News that he was known for. And I felt like there was a gap there in the market where I could kind of, just voice a different angle on Ark News, and that seemed to take off. And there's other elements I was looking at, like the top 10s and such, and just worked, just grinded, and then pretty much as I was about to lose my job, it started to attain a bit of an income. Wasn't a lot, but it was enough to think, okay, maybe we can actually do this full time. So my wife kept me going for a couple of months back then, and the rest is, I guess, as they say, history. It just grew from there, and it's just a whirlwind, and it is just the most amazing thing in the world. It really is, to be able to do this 24/7.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Honestly, that's a pretty cool story. I mean, even just like you said, you were saying like, you can kind of shove it in your mom's face a little bit now. You're like stuff like that.
But like to note, she is like my number one fan though as well. She's always watching my vids.
That's awesome though,
and it's wicked. Yeah, and recently I got my brother into it, and he's giving it a try now as well, which is cool.
Is he going to be on a future video or what?
It's been in a few already.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been in and out. It's one of them, right? Like, I'm keen for him to kind of like involve himself, but I also want him to kind of find his own journey at the same time. So it's like one of those, but he's giving it a great shot, and fingers crossed for him. He's almost thinking about going full time himself soon. So yeah.
What type of content does he create?
Same.
Same? Okay.
He's here. He's in Club Ark right here with me. Because it is, I think, there's so many games we can discuss and talk about, and I could have picked to continue doing videos on or be a variety gamer, but it's genuinely from a level of passion for this game that I have been addicted to for far too long, that warrants provides so many different angles and ways to play it. It never gets old. And, I do turn and play the odd game every now and then, but I always find myself coming straight back to this sandbox survival experience that can just, create any story that you want. Yeah.
Man.
That's one of the great parts about it, is the fact that you can sort of create your own journey, and that freedom to sort of role play it out the way you want. Role play it differently each time if you choose to. Like, there's so many possibilities, man. It's such a great game.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's and the thing is, for me, it really feels like it's still in its infancy. I know there's a rocky road at the moment and this transition to Ascended, but dude, like the animated series and the possibilities of a live action film coming off the back of that, and of course the, dare we say, Ark 2 sequel, there feels like there's still so much for the future of Ark. It's barely even begun to be a fan of.
Okay.
Are you afraid? Sorry to interrupt, Jericho. Are you afraid for the future moving forward? Like, it's in its infancy, yeah, and there's a lot of potential on the horizon. How concerned are you that this rocky road will, derail the wagon too far, so to speak?
Not at all. Not at all. I know this year's certainly been a rocky one for Ark. I think it's very clear to most people that it's been a bit up and down. That transition hasn't gone as well as perhaps Wildcard had hoped. And they did pretty much what they did with Evolved when it first came out. I think a lot of people forget that when Evolved came out, like, nobody could play that either.
Yep.
Like it was struggling so much for so many people, and unfortunately, it's such a shame. But unfortunately, Ascended has followed the exact same path. They've tried to future-proof and base it on the best possible tech without perhaps the right optimization, and we're back where we were when we first started playing Evolved in terms of hardware limitations, without a doubt. And I feel like that's the journey that we've still got to go with Ascended for it to be adopted once again. Is it too late? Don't know. Hopefully it's not. I don't think it is.
Yeah, I think
I like it.
that, I do think Ark has a future. Like you said, I do feel like we're in a big down spree, but I also remember, back in the day, like you said, like that is really how Survival Evolved did start, was, kind of like everything was hard, glitchy, as normal. Like you said, really wasn't playable at all. But, I mean, yeah, man, overall, I still love the game. And, I always come back to it. Like you said, it's just one of the games you always come back to eventually.
Absolutely, mate. And there's so many great popular games still reeling out, and games I keep saying, oh, I'm going to jump on that. I'm going to jump on Wukong. I'm going to jump on, not Bloodborne, the latest. What's the latest Dark Souls game? Whatever that one is, right? But there's so many out there that keep dropping. I'm like, I've got to dive into that one. And I just can't tear myself away from this game to play them. I want to, but I can't. It's not for a lack of feeling like my platform surrounds that. It's really not. I know that's a general concern of most creators of being locked to a platform, and and there's definitely an argument to say that to be a variety gamer is a very hard thing to do, and we've seen plenty of examples of that. But it's just not something that I'm trying to pursue. Like maybe that door might open at some point in the future. I don't know, but right now it's purely Ark.
That's awesome, though, man. See, the fact that you have the passion for that is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. It's great. Like it's so difficult to compare any game to it, and maybe I'm within a bubble there. But there's just the variety of different ways you can play this, and the sandbox that it offers there's not much out there that you can compare it to. When you throw in the PvP, the PVE, the dinos, the giant ever-growing modding community, which is getting even larger as we speak, and opening even new ways to play. I don't know. I can't see it diving. I can't. Okay. I can't.
So something, this is, I guess, technically maybe a little off topic, but you spotted, or you said you used to play a bunch of games before Ark came out. Like, what were your what are your top 5 games right now?
Okay, so number 1, Resident Evil.
Okay.
Massive, huge Resident Evil fan. In fact, I would argue that's what got me into Ark in the first place. Survival horror, right? Survival horror games. I mean, as I mentioned to you, I used to be involved with these, zombie chase events because a shared love of survival horror, and how something make believe can strike so much imagination to create an emotion, invoke an emotion out of somebody. Just it's so interesting to me that something can do that to somebody. And I love survival horror games. I've played so many, but Resident Evil was the OG. Okay. It was the one I very first played when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11. I was pretty young when it was out on PlayStation 1, and I was scared out of my wits. In fact, going back even before then, Friday the 13th on the Atari, that was the very first survival horror game I played. I loved that game. And dude, it was like stick figures like moving around on a screen. There was nothing to it, but for some reason, I was bricking it the entire time playing this game, right? But yeah, Resident Evil just captured a genre, right? In fact, it invented the genre of survival horror, you could argue. I know Alone in the Dark came out just before it, and there was a few comparatives with that. But I think Resident Evil is the daddy of survival horror, and I just fell in love with that game. I love the story, I love the lore, and the gameplay of it all, and played all the games all the way through. In fact, the only one I haven't played, and I feel kind of bad for it, is the latest one, which I keep intending to do. But I'm this Ark addict that can't find time. But I've got like a giant Resident Evil collection somewhere locked away behind me, and like signed Mila Jovovich like autographs and stuff. I'm into the movies as well. I love it all. So that's one. That's one. A close second. Metal Gear Solid.
Never played that.
Hey,
man, good choice. Yeah, you're okay. You're banned. Raasclark is you're the new co-host. Jericho, get out.
Dang.
For similar reasons, one, it invented a genre. Its tagline was tactical espionage. Oh, there's a third word to it, but whatever that is, it was that, right? And it invented a lot of new gameplay mechanics when it first came out. I remember playing the demo on PlayStation 1 when it first came out and was wowed by it. And just Kojima, he's just an absolute lunatic in some of the creative ideas he puts from pen to paper. And like when you fight one boss and Psycho Mantis and you figure out to beat him, you've got to unplug your controller and plug it into player 2, like stuff like that. At the top, back then, it was just unprecedented, like moments. And he was as close to telling a film than any game that had come before it. It was a fantastic piece of storytelling. In fact, like I think if you can grasp the lore of Metal Gear, I think that alone really opens your eyes to how deep Kojima went with that game. And and carried it through to obviously loop with Phantom Pain, which again love that. And I've got all the collector's editions. I've got the Phantom Pain PlayStation behind me somewhere. Love awesome. The Metal Gear series, and really, really, really looking forward to Snake Eater. That is one game I have promised the community I will move away from Ark to play that, because it invented some elements to survival as well. There was a lot of elements in it with eating food to keep up your health, and some things, creatures would invoke like some draining points and that to make sure you're still living and surviving, killing snakes to cook and harvest and keep yourself going as you're camouflaged up in the jungle. And just the whole, the stealth of it all. It's just too fun. And in fact, like I've got shorts and that on Ark where I've definitely been influenced from Metal Gear, trying to sneak into people's bases, right? Crawling through the grass. It's just great. It's such a good game. And it's just a shame that Kojima and Konami split up when they did. It's a wonder what would have happened following that. So whilst I'm looking forward to playing the remake of Snake Eater, it's not without Kojima. It's a shame it's going to be without Kojima, but just what a game series, what a story to tell.
Can we just take a minute and address the fact that it sounds like when you said you have to, at one point in the boss, you got to unplug your controller, plug it into player 2. That's some crap that like your older brother tells you, you got right before you kill the boss, you got to unplug your controller. Trust me.
There was like one bit where you had to find the codec to call, I think it was Merrill or someone, and like you're being like given this information. You're like, wow, at the back of the case, what? Where's this case? And you're looking everywhere on the map for some bizarre case to find a codec number to call this person, right? And you figure it out eventually. It's literally on the back of the actual game case to find this number. There was so many inventive, creative ideas with that game. It was really cool. So that's 2.
Such a good answer. So many good answers.
Yeah. Damn. And then, I mean, what comes after that, man? I mean, probably Zelda, you know, Ocarina of Time, when that came out, I was in love with that. Such a wonderful adventure from start to end. Played it countless times through and through. And then, you know, of course, every Zelda game that's come and gone with that reinventing new ideas, again, pioneering gameplay features that are now influencing games today. The very most recent one that I've forgot the name of. It's such a shame that it's on the Switch, and it was like you could see the hardware struggling to perform some of the cool new abilities they provided with the, you know, like time bending and building structures, building giant robots with bits and pieces that you could power and motorize to venture the world. It's just, again, it's one of those, again, leading the charge in a genre that's just been a fantastic joy to play, and one definitely as a kid I was in love with. And then, yeah, as I was talking about that, another one came up, Shadow of the Colossus.
What's that?
Never played that. Never even heard of it.
No.
Please go check it out. Shadow of the Colossus. When that game came out, I was so excited for it before it came out. It came out originally on PS2, but has been remastered time and time again on every platform after that for a valid reason. Back then, I said, and I still stand by it, this game is the closest game to art that you can come by. It's just, it's a beautiful game that to suck you in and just be captured by it all the way through. And the funny thing is, it's one giant world, and it's you on a horse, and you've simply got to gallop to 12 locations where there's a colossus to beat, and there's, like, you know, there's some puzzle elements in how you got to climb up each colossus to kill them, and that's it. That's the game. But it's the journey from your original starting position to each colossus, and it's just, it's like art, poetry. It's so majestic as you're galloping through these fields with your sword high in the air, shining this beam of light towards where you need to go. And each and every fight is just unique and interesting as you scale these giant beasts to try and figure out how to slay them from start to finish. A really, really enjoyable story there. I've played time and time again there, from Team Ico. Brilliant game, and I really encourage you to check it out if well, obviously you haven't.
Well,
so
100%,
yeah, it's hard to check out, you know, when Matt and I are Xbox people and not PlayStation, but you know, we don't got to get into that.
Hey, I was Xbox too, man.
Okay.
I was there on the 360 playing it. I had the original Xbox.
Okay, good.
I was a Halo freak.
Let's
all
go.
The way. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And I had the 360, Gears of War, and all of that. I could tell you we could talk about a bunch of cool indie games, you know, all the arcade games that they used to release on the 360. What an era, right? 360 was an absolutely, it was. There was so many great memories whilst playing on the 360. But, you know, they did the thing that PlayStation did when the 360 came out. They got cocky.
Yep.
They thought everybody would buy the next Xbox. Right, and they brought out this television, interactive television remote thing that, well, we all saw what happened, right? We was all there, and I thought, yeah, okay, time to jump back on PlayStation. So I did, you know, but then Ark wasn't too far after that, really. Yeah. But yeah, the 360 era, great, man. There's so many great memories playing on my 360. You know, Gears was up there. Halo 3, you know, the last think it was the last mission. The one we were on the warthogs and racing to the end as the whole world's blown up around you.
Yes.
But even ODST as well. There were so many cool missions in that as well. And just the 360 for me was my first real opportunity at playing massive multiplayer games and online games with people from all over the world. In fact, when I got my 360, that was what I did. I got my 360 with Gears of War 1, and I plugged it in to my horrible, awful, God knows, probably barely even 1 meg internet, and I played it from when the sun came up to when the sun went down, and then until the sun came up again, playing against every single person from every single continent and country that I could. I listened to American people, Australian people, Japanese people, and it was just I was involved with Gears of War when it first came out. It's such a great time. So that's probably up there as one of those games as well. Again, right, another one that certainly set a bit of a benchmark there. That whole third-person gameplay. Before Gears of War, there wasn't much. Resident Evil 4 invented that genre, but Gears of War pretty much took it and ran with it. And this is why we see so many third-person shoot-'em-ups following Gears of War.
And that's really insightful. I had not considered that, but you are totally correct.
Yeah. Again, I could talk about any game before Ark. Anything after that, I wouldn't have a thing about, dude. Yeah.
I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like, I used to work at a video store for people that might not know this. There was these things called VHS tapes that you put into your cassette players, and you would play movies on, right?
Yep.
And I used to work for one of those that you could rent
video
them from. That's it, your family videos,
yeah.
Which then went onto DVD, and then I was there through the DVD era. But there was a moment, there was a World of Warcraft DLC launch night, right? But back then, I was playing the mainstream games, right? Like this World of Warcraft, I knew nothing about. But when that DLC came out, I saw this huge, long lineup of people all waiting to play it, and they've been there for hours and hours and hours waiting for this DLC. And I remember back then, like, thinking, damn, man, that's a pretty sad life. Like, to be that invested, to turn up that early, right? But I am like far and gone beyond them now with my investment in Ark, and I fully understand that perspective now, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, once you find your niche game like that, man, there's no competing with it. Once something touches your heart and gets that special little spot in your soul, I feel like it's never going to be replaced.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's a real wonder what could possibly change that. I don't know.
Finding a new game like 7 Days to Die or something like. I could see you getting really addicted to 7 Days to Die.
Man, I've done the 7 Days to Die thing, done all that. Yeah, it's good fun. I enjoyed it, but it's no Ark. Rust, done that. It's all right. It's no Ark. Minecraft,
okay.
Done all that. It's no Ark. Like that's where I am, man.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong though. All the things that we love about Ark, I feel like all of those games are great in their own right, but they're all just missing a little something, and that whole collection of the soup in the pot is what make Ark.
Yeah, it's got that special ingredient that just for me, I can't find a comparative game. I think there's these games like you just mentioned that certainly provides some competitive elements and do them really, really well, and have got a fantastic community there, and I can see why they're popular games. But Ark just does so much more, brings so much more to the table.
You are not wrong, sir.
So, another question that I have, right, is what is your biggest Ark pet peeve?
See, I could go with the easy answer and say a particular creature or two.
Yep.
Yeah,
which
that's
I
totally
despise. The mana that we're going to get revisited once again in Extinction, I'm just not a fan of, dude. Like, and that comes from my PvP roots. When that thing came out, it was just the most disgusting, like, auto aim creature I've ever seen in my life, and it was the most trolling creature you'd ever see. Like, it would bound in like near you, like freeze you on the spot, jump pound you, boom, there you go, and dead, and it would just disappear out into the infinite nothingness. I hated that thing. I still hate that thing. It's so jank, and the way it moves at like 20-degree turns, it doesn't turn fluidly. It's like I hate that creature so much. But yeah, I could definitely spate about that. But what is it I dislike most about Ark? It's an expansive question, man, because we're also critical of things from time to time, and this is like something that I try to avoid because with being critical, you can easily seep into being or committing to being negative about things. I'm very much a trying to delve into the reasons behind why bad decisions are made. Yep. I guess my pet peeve would be the restrictions that wildcard are held to. I think it's very clear. We can all see it's almost like publicly known between everyone. There's this imbalance between publisher and developer. Well, not really publisher, it's owner, right? Of this game, and you can see the division in trying to drive creativity and cater to the fans and the audience that they've got, but then being led by this business head that, of course, want to earn money. But that's kind of the oldest argument for any sort of company, right? That's, we see that with everything. You've always got your investors that say, well, that's great, but how does it earn me money? How am I getting a return on investment for that? So, it's something you can complain about, but is it really any different to any other company out there? Probably not. Yeah. But it does grind your gears when you hear things like, let's try and invent a tech drill that you'll pay to drill into the floor to keep earning element for you, and crazy wacky ideas to try and generate revenue. In fact, it's kind of interesting to see how the latest revenue streams are being adopted.
Oh yeah.
I think we're still in this element of argument of pay to win, especially with the fantastical beast creatures, and we could drone on about those all day, can't we? But the adoption of premium mods at the very least seems to be, I don't know, it seems to be pretty well accepted now. There's still a lot of people that are against them, and I can certainly see arguments for and against with premium mods, and I definitely think in the months to come there needs to be a higher benchmark on what makes a premium mod. But then there's also a level of what amount should I be putting that mod on? If it's, but then there's also the argument of supporting the mod to be that real premium mod that it should become. It's a very difficult one to just simply say it either works or it doesn't. I think there's different ways to tackle it, but I do think, at least on a map level, that, and this is probably why we haven't seen many maps so far, possibly anyways, that there needs to be some sort of benchmark.
Do you decide that it's a premium map versus a DLC?
Okay,
Sorry,
this
Jericho, I got a little bit of delay here, so there's like a 3-second delay on my ability to speak. I think, but at what point is there a...
Oh, good. Yeah, well, we're speaking from across worlds.
Sorry, I'm struggling. I got a lag here. So
I lost you there.
My question was, at what point do you see?
Hello?
At what point does it differentiate between a premium mod versus a full blown DLC? Where's the line there?
Oh god. Mm. I think it's very hard to offer a criteria for anything other than a map, but I think for a map at the very least, it needs to be a fully explorable map. I think, and I know that might certainly hit some ears with anguish, but if you can't explore the entirety of the map, like how on earth can it have
That's fair.
a monetary value? How can you pay for a product that you can't fully explore? But you know, all the other cool stuff, bring it in after. And I think that's where I sit. But again, I really want to stress this. I get the developers. See, I've spent enough time with the dev kit to 100%. Understand the work that goes into these maps is phenomenal, and a huge credit to the people that make these maps. So I don't want that criticism to just simply be put out based on just me poo-pooing this concept. But you know, I get that with that there needs to be some return of investment.
True.
You know, that these developers can make these fantastic maps that now are really almost showing up wild cards with the quality of maps that are rolling out, that they deserve some term of investment to make these maps even better. But for me personally, I need to feel like it's almost cringeworthy when you get to a spot and you hit this walled edge border, and you can see I'm doing this live and I'm seeing the comments like everyone going, premium map, eh? And you can't argue with that. Like, how on earth have I just paid for this map and I can't explore it all? You know, it's yeah. That's where I sit with that. You know, but then there's a price point of things as well. You know, everything's got its price, and what does that set? What does that benchmark? Because you can get mods for $2, $5, $10, and
good answer.
What level does what qualities what is one offered for those prices? Yeah.
You know, so with Ark, you know, we were just kind of talking, you know, harping on some things, you know, but like you said, overall, we want to be positive about things, you know, because
absolutely.
But so for Ark, I just want to ask you this question: is what is something you would do to, you know, kind of get either more people engaged, or, you know, for say these, you know, bigger creators, what people would say, you know, label them as, you know, like whatever. What would you do to try to, you know, boost an audience to get more people?
See, there's a problem there, because for a lot of larger creators, that ship has sailed, and that's going to be a very tough one to pull creators in. In fact, I think the only thing that will do that is Ark 2 and Vin Diesel. But let me backtrack a bit. It's the Atlas launch, right? Yep. The Atlas launch, when they rolled that out, they brought in a lot of large creators, well-known creators, and it wasn't a very great launch, was it? Yeah, it's such a shame, because that game has so much potential, and I really enjoyed the time I've spent with it. But at launch, it didn't go very well. We all know that, and as a result, it cast a very negative opinion from a lot of big creators that all know that it despite it being made by a sister company, they all know it's still the same guys that made Ark. I mean, the freaking menu was in the same game. Yeah. The Ark menu was within Atlas, right, when it first launched. So they've all developed this opinion, and I can see I've seen it time and time again whenever something's being grabbed onto. Asmongold, right, jumped on something last year, that whole drama with the PvPers, and I think he recaptured that opinion of way back with the Atlas launch during his rant on it all, and the things stick with people, and they won't be swayed. I think Ark 2, when they see a game with Vin Diesel's face on, they can't not play it. They actors sell, right, and to have the guy all about family fronting a game, they won't not play that, and I think that's what's going to bring them in. It really is. Ascended's great, and I love this new chapter that we've got with it, and I get it's going to take some time to get to that place where we've got all the maps that we got from ASE, and we're looking to what's next for Ascended. But Ark 2's gonna be that moment.
I think so too. I think that collaboration is going to be extremely important. We saw with Cyberpunk when that first came out. To be honest with you, I really like Keanu Reeves as a human being and as an actor. So that was like the reason that I bought Cyberpunk at first. So, you know, I think that you're onto something there, that Vin Diesel is going to be huge for Ark 2.
Yeah, man. That's it. Oh, absolutely right. You know, they do. They like the fact that it's still quite surreal, really, isn't it? You know, you've got Vin Diesel as the lead character in this game, this funny old game that we've been playing for so many years about dinosaurs and guns, and he's there. Like when that trailer came out. Oh, absolutely right. Yeah, I since learned he was the reason why they attempted to revive Sotif. Which that's a whole other subject to talk about as well. But yeah, and the fact that he's fronting it. yeah, right. But the fact that he's fronting Ark 2 is wicked. And then, of course, now the animated TV series and what comes from that. I was really hoping we'd see a larger uptake following the animated TV series, but I just don't. It had too much of a quiet
launch
release.
Yep, I was gonna say.
It really was. It was too quiet when it dropped. My opinion is because of the platform that it was released on. I get that it's very difficult, especially when it was fully funded by Wildcard themselves, right? Because with all of these platforms, and I get it, right? All of these platforms, they want to know, you know, if we're invested into your series, that's what they're all doing now. What are we getting back out of it? But in this scenario, Wildcard have funded it themselves. So there was nothing to gain, and they seemingly had a very difficult time trying to get it on a platform, and they settled with Paramount Plus in the end, which was a nightmare to get for anybody outside of the US.
Yeah, that was a big thing, man. And so I ask you this, though, right? You know, with the whole thing with that launch, you know, you're saying Paramount potentially was, you know, whatever. It was hard to get a platform. Do you think Ark would have been better releasing it for, you know, either, you know, on their own website or on like their own YouTube channel?
Right. Yeah. It's a topic I've seen brought up a few times, that why didn't they just go for the YouTube route and just create a premium YouTube service, just run it straight on there? Who knows? Maybe. I think to have it just accessible to people would have been a start. We'll never know.
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
never know. YouTube. I mean, YouTube is such a mainstream platform now. I think a lot of people still believe it to be this weird, you know, like 90s cam sort of footage thing. But there's so much content on there at such high caliber, at such excellent production values. And it's only going to get better. That is comparative to almost
hear me out from a marketing standpoint.
TV shows out there
making
now,
that animated series completely free for everybody. Like, there's been plenty of times where Sword Art Online, that is a fantastic example of a show that I'm sitting here watching the show like, dude, if they made that game, I'd play the crap out of it, and I bet I could beat the whole thing. And, you know, you really get into it. So they missed an opportunity here to make this free for everybody to watch, to then be like, oh, snap, Helena, I want to find her dossiers everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And especially considering they had already funded it themselves. I don't know. I mean, who knows, you know, what return they needed or wanted from that as a result. But you're right, there's certainly an argument that would it not have been an opportunity to just grow and market to a wider audience by doing the YouTube route. But who knows? We're here now. We're on Paramount, and that is what it is. But I still hold on to those dear words from Mr. Doug the Head that based on the success of that, there was the potential of live action movies. And I still
100%.
hope that could be a possibility. I'd love to see it happen. And that would definitely market
I
Ark.
agree. I really think, like, I mean, I don't know how much, movies you watch, live action things you watch, but like recently, a lot of video games have gone to live action. And what the
Right?
most recent one has been Fallout. And that was like a huge, huge success.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was the best video games TV show. Oh well, there's some argument for The Last of Us, but for me, The Last of Us. See, that's a different comparative, right? I think in terms of capturing the world of the game, Fallout nailed it, right? Like Fallout did such a good job there, and brilliant. Can't wait for season 2. Without a doubt. And movies, right? The movie scene is improving. There's been a few flops, but look Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario. These games are all now
That's
being
the episode
enjoyed
title
by our
right
children.
there. It's a great time to be a
it's
gamer.
It's a
with
great time to
Raasclark.
be a gamer in terms of any form of media. Yeah.
I'm 31.
It is though. It's mad that back when we were kids. I'm guessing you guys are around my age. I don't know. It was a very niche. Okay, you're a bit younger than me, but it is a very niche club of kids that like nobody really would associate with, and you was in your close circle of friends there, all playing these games and LAN games and such. But that was it, and at some point, it just blew up, and everybody's a gamer now in all walks of life, of all ages. There's like everybody knows what a video game is now, and it's so cool to have seen the entire evolution of video games from its inception to what it is now. Like it's as comparative as movies, and Ark is right poetic. There in one of those side carriages on that train. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He says that's poetic. Yeah, man. I'm really, I don't know, just video games in general. Like you said, really back.
He's a baby.
Back in the day, I am also young, Raz. I'm only 25 here, okay?
Okay.
But I will still say back in the day because I'm starting to feel old.
Don't yet. Don't. And that's the beauty of this game, man. Never feel old, dude. Like, yeah.
That is so true.
And we're like, listen, man, we're blokes, man. We never grow up. Like that's just a thing. Everyone knows that. I do wonder, is there will I ever hit an age where I'll stop enjoying video games? I just can't see it, dude.
Nope.
I can't see it ever happening. Without a doubt. I remember like when I was a kid and I had this uncle who had a Mega Drive, which is called a Genesis over in your end, and like he was the coolest uncle ever. But at the same time, I was like, man, like it's mad to think somebody like that old's playing games. But again, that was back at a time where it was still quite a niche thing, whereas now it's so widely adopted, and like there's proven people out there, creators that are playing games, streaming games, creating games at much older ages now. Like there's this dude I watch quite often, who's he's dubbed as a World War II or a Viet vet that plays Call of Duty or one of those games, Battlegrounds or something, and he's got he used to be like a trained sniper, and there's I keep seeing his shorts and everything keep popping up on my feeds, and it's just wicked. Like what a life! Like at that age to be to have that recognition, so cool. Yeah, and that's again we're getting into this YouTube game. Really, I was too late to the game. Well, I thought I was too late to the game, getting into a young kids game of trying to make content and entertaining people on something that I just love to play.
True, man.
But I like to prove that it's never too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. For me, it's only just begun. Like as I mentioned to you before we started this podcast, like I've just got an office built to really ramp up those production values to enter some new creative ideas on content creation. And that's just wild that I'm able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And like the fact that, I mean, like Ark and just YouTube in general just kind of like brought you there. It's just like and your story, I don't know, your story's cool and everything. I don't know, man. It's just cool.
I appreciate it, mate. Like, it's wicked. I just hope I never take it for granted, because I think you can easily.
I agree.
And you can get complacent, about anything, right? But it's something I can imagine you could if you wanted to, and you've just got to remember, like it's down to every single person that clicks and views your content that contributes to that growth, and it's always remembering to just be humble and thankful for that. That goes, just I think must go some way.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest, man, I like personally, just even us just doing the podcast, like, sometimes it's hard because like, for example, like we talked about in our last episode, like, we do this, right, because of just the few people listening or whatever it is, okay? And but every once in a while, for example, if you were to start at 3,000 people watching, but now you average 20 people, you just kind of get discouraged and different things like that. But like ultimately, you got to realize what you're doing it for.
Well, this is it, right? Like, and I've seen this quite a few times now. I feel like I've been in the game long enough now to see some examples, and I've seen creators that have run into those, that have had those dips, that have had these small bursts of popularity, and then when that's faded away and it's gone straight back down, and they're not punching the numbers. And I've been there myself, but I've seen them get to that point and just lose themselves and lose why they were there in the first place, and just abandon it altogether, which is such a shame, because in this game you have to expect that. And I learned that very early on, that there's going to be lows and highs, and you've just got to have a strong head to appreciate there's just sometimes there's not going to be many people invested in what you're doing, and that's okay, because as long as you're still passionate about what you're doing, and that's the real reason of why you got into it in the first place, just keep going, dude. Just keep going, and people will come along eventually. They will. Like, you share that passion with somebody out there, and it only takes that one person. It really does. It's as long as you're making one person's day better, then you're doing something pretty damn good. To be able to simply just entertain, to speak words, to shout, ball, scream, do whatever you want to do on camera or on microphone, and to make one person's day better is the best feeling in the world. There's no better. Truly. And I mean that from the heart. I do. Like every now and then I get messages sent by people, like where like somebody will ask me to send a birthday message, and I'll get a reaction video of that, and it just warms my heart, man. It's the best feeling in the world. I remember being sent, it's a while back now, but I remember being sent a photo of a family, a mother and father and their two kids gathered around the TV on their their weekend entertainment night, watching me playing Ark, like I was as a kid with my parents, like watching the Generation game. And I'm like, dude, it's so mind-blowing to be able to provide that entertainment and make somebody's day,
future generation of gamers,
or hour,
man. You got a whole generation of kids out there that are looking up to you, watching you play games, and believing that they can do it too. YouTube creation's a huge dream for kids right now, so inspiring the world, my man.
Well, it is. Well, absolutely right. So I've got two girls, and one of them, that's her ambition to be a YouTuber, and it's trying to appreciate that's a lot of kids' ambitions now, but it's trying to kind of ground that to some extent and understand how that journey came to be for some. A lot of these big creators, they just did get lucky, really. That 1% of massive creators, they did just get lucky. They got that one vid that hit the algorithm at the right time, or they got in early and they blew up as a result. Not many do that, you know, and you've got to remember that. And it's more important to focus on, you know, your education and your abilities to drive any other elements before even entertaining being a content creator first. That's my opinion. Do it like run it side by side, and it's so easy for me to say. And I was very fortunate and lucky to be able to get into the game after, I guess, I lived a life, right? And I'd had my 20s, and I'd done all that, and I'd worked, and I'd experienced everything I wanted to do, and then I got to invest myself into this thing that I really hoped would take off, and I was really passionate about, and I was very lucky that it's got to where it has so far. But I think it's always worth just grounding that expectation on it being a full-time career, you know, first and foremost, but still being passionate about it. But, you know, that's the argument, right, that I'm trying to have with my kids at the moment. That's the one.
Gotta be the hard one.
Trying to make them understand. Oh, absolutely, because, you know, obviously it's gonna be like, well, you do it, Dad. Like, what? Like, why can't I, right? So it's a difficult one, without a doubt. Yeah, but it's a wonder what's next around the corner. If this is the dream ambition right now, you know, everything comes in trends. What's next after this? And that's another element of this content creation game, is always trying to look ahead of how's everyone else doing it. What's the next way of doing content? I guess the most recent example is the 100 Days creators. Like, they, God love them, and they do really well. But, and I'll say this proudly, they ruined the Let's Players.
Yep.
like 95% of Let's Players just got absolutely butchered, and I was one of them. But listen, like, it's all in respect of driving new ways to make content, and it's definitely been a learning lesson for me to figure out, okay, so what is it about that type of content that people are enjoying more, and what can I do differently to, you know, to restructure my content around that premise, but without just simply copying it. I'm just not a fan.
Yep.
And but I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that learning experience of seeing how something new can be brought in and completely change the landscape, to then really figure yourself out on how does that define you and your content for the future.
Yeah. So also, I just want to ask, you know, in general, like, you don't have to say if you don't want to, because that's okay. What is some upcoming videos, or like upcoming something that you're looking forward to?
See, I work very day to day for the most part. I mean, I upload like pretty much every day. That's been my kind of my mission statement, or as it were, I guess, like, is that from early on, that just to make sure I'm pumping out a video every single day without fail. If I miss a day, it's the worst thing in the world. Like, I have to get something out at least once per day. And I'm sure I'm at a point now where I could probably start reflecting on that and probably put more time into making better quality videos. But it's just, it's something really hard to break, like just wanting to drive that, but and understanding that definitely contributed to so much growth, was being persistent and consistent for the first like 1,000 videos I uploaded. You know, I think I'm on like 2,200 videos now uploaded, or something like that.
2.1.
Oh, there we go. 2.1. That's what I'm on. You know, but I'm definitely sure it was only because I was consistent and persistent, without a doubt. But there's easily an argument to prove, and we're seeing that with other creators that have like 3 videos on their channel, and they're all 3 100-day videos, and they're all getting like millions and millions of views. So, you know, I'm not it's not the tried and tested proven example, and perhaps it's even the old hat example of how to work, but it's something I've been so regimented in for so long now, it's hard to break that habit, you know. I forgot what the question was. What was the question? Content I'm looking forward to, right? So there we go. So so I work day to day, and so looking ahead too far is just something I don't really do too much. But like I'll be right now, like I'm working on this Primal Nemesis series, which is again something I'm trialing out, something new. So like recently I did a thing where people had to vote in mods every stream that I did, and just to see how a playthrough would develop by the community developing that experience throughout with their own interest. And I'm kind of trying to do a similar sort of element, but with a bit of a hidden agenda, that it's trying out this Primal Nemesis mod, but on every single premium map that again the community can vote in to them, to which we like move to each one as and when. But it's also to see one, how this overhaul mod performs on these maps that are still work in progress, right? And also just to showcase all of these premium maps and how developed they are, which kind of goes back to our conversation earlier, right? And it's been great just simply in a feedback experience with those mod map creators, because quite a few of them have jumped in the chat because they're actively interested to see, you know, what's my opinion of that map. And you can see, like, you know, that there's a lot of people there that are offering feedback at the same time. And I think it's a great journey for everyone involved, from all aspects of content creation and map creation there, and the audience watching and being invested and voting. So that's been fun, and that's continuing on for a while. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I might try and get this done before the medieval mod comes out. That's just been postponed.
I've just seen that.
Sadly, unfortunately, due to the unfortunate weather you've got over there. But it kind of, in a way, I think it worked out for me, because I was worried about trying to get this wrapped up before then. So, you know, which is a terrible time for most people, was a bit of a breath of relief from me to hear it being pushed back. So I was like, great. So when that comes around, I'm hoping to get this done by the time that comes out, and then probably jump on that, and then that might see me through to Extinction. And then there's a few topic conversations on what's going on with Monarchy, because originally, I don't know, how well aware of Monarchy are you?
I would say I know bits and pieces. That's about it.
Please do.
So that's another subject we can talk about, and we should talk about. But Monarchy, yeah. Well, I'll tell you anyway then. So Monarchy, I'm so passionate about, because it's for me, it's a collective of creators, of any sort of creator, as long as you're an invested, keen, budding creator of Ark, to jump on, collaborate with other creators, and just share that space, to not only bounce off each other in making content in the moment there, but to influence each other, and to make each other better creators within this space that we all share and love, right? And that was why it first took off, and I really hope that it continues to grow to be. At one point, the dream is for Monarchy to be that platform that every single creator, if they want to collaborate with other creators, that's where they go. That's the place. That's the platform to be on, to do that. And it's figuring out how to get to that point where it can cater to the wide variety of different players, because that's their, you know, there's so many different ways to play Ark. That's the most difficult challenge, really, is to accommodate that. But that's where I really wanted to go, and it's, you know, it's my baby, and I've loved the seasons that we've done so far, and I just can't wait to see how we get to that point, starting with the next season, which was originally planned to be Ragnarok, I'll say that much. But then obviously we know it's, well, we don't definitely know, but it's pretty obvious that we're not going to get Ragnarok before Extinction. So now we're like, okay, we're kind of, because obviously we've developed a whole story and mod ideas surrounding Ragnarok, but now it's Extinction. It's like, okay, so what are we going to do for that one, right? So it's discussing and figuring out how we're delivering what we want to do on that map instead, which is really hard when you finish a season with a cinematic on expecting where you're going to end up, right? Because like the last season, everyone's on a boat in the sea expecting to wash up on Ragnarok, you can't wash up on Extinction, can you? So we haven't figured that one out yet, but we're working on it. Yeah. Just getting to a point of where I was just saying, just trying to wrap up ideas on what we do on Extinction, and that's that really. There, like I don't know if you caught me at the tail end there of me saying that we left the last season with us on a raft in open water, and the plan was to wash up ashore on Ragnarok, but there ain't no.
Maybe you guys could do like a
wash up
whirlpool
ashore
or something
on Extinction. So yeah, it's figuring that one out.
You're gonna have to maybe and not drown yourselves or something. I don't know.
And it I in the ideal world, cause this is why they hate me, because I'll think up some crazy wacky ideas and I'll say, right, how are we actually going to do that?
Yeah.
So the idea is, I'm like, well, what all we could have is the water just draughts out. And then there you go, we're on a wasteland.
Yep, there you go.
But how on earth? How do we execute that? I don't know, man. We're figuring it out. Yeah,
that's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, right, I want to know what your favorite video you've ever made is.
See, I'm going to come back at you with some technical answer once again.
Okay.
Because I think the one purpose of being a content creator is to regret everything you've ever done and to make the next thing better. And I stand by that to a point that I can't even watch my first year or two of videos without cringing so hard inside. And I think that's a vital part of, I guess, being the best you can be at anything, right? Is to regret everything. And that's kind of why I set a deadline date of ensuring I get one video every day, because then I've got to limit myself on that video being what it is, to regret it, to make the next one even better, and keep going and going and going like that. Damn, man, I don't know. Like that's a really difficult one to answer, if I'm being honest. Like, I mean, there's a few, that I guess I look back on and I just have a good chuckle about, the every dino poop video was a proud achievement. I tell you, I enjoyed doing the Christmas song that I did not last year, the year before, where I sung a Christmas song in just Ark dino names. That was fun. that was fun. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the Duck series was really cool. Really enjoyed that. That was the first time I'd understood the limitation or the opposite of limitations of what an overhaul mod can bring to this game that I've been playing for so many years already, and just spin it on its head and thrust you into something just absolutely wacky and wild, and enjoy that for what it is. And I'm getting to kind of have that experience once again with Primal Nemesis. So Dux was great. Dux was really fun, yeah. And I'm getting the same sort of vibes with playing Primal Nemesis.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe I'm, thinking of different things, but have you ever watched a video? This is my video idea that I haven't seen personally. So this video is, you go on any of the maps and you only go through drops. Have you ever seen a video like that? I feel like I know you had the video where you did the Ingram, or no Ingrams, but
yeah. That was that, technically. Like I lived on the drops in that video. that was how it was. It was pretty much that. Whilst I couldn't unlock any engram, that meant that I had to get every single loot source I could from drops to advance. So it was essentially that playthrough exactly. Yeah. Which was a challenging one to do on a map that doesn't have white and blue drops, which you would be surprised how many like absolutely vital items are in white and blue drops. But yeah, so it was a definitely interesting experience to try that. Yeah, without a doubt. You got me thinking. I don't know. I'm trying to think about like what's been my favorite video. There's yeah, it's so
We just had to
difficult,
stump
like,
you with one question. I feel like, like we feel good as,
yeah.
the podcast host if we can at least stump you with one question.
Yeah, I think. But again, it's just based on that mentality of wanting to make sure like is regretting every video, but not obviously regretting the videos, but just like wanting to do better with the next one. And I revel in that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what I really enjoyed for a while back was feeling like I was somehow championing the SOTIF scene, Survival of the Fittest last year, and feeling like I don't know, like I don't want to blow my own trumpet too much there, but I feel like I might have helped to try and get the devs to revitalize that themselves. And let's say it was like, it was Vin Diesel that did that, but I don't know, like it was around a time when I was really trying to push it. A few creators jumped on board. We had those tournaments and it was so much fun. And it's just a shame that it's lost its way once again.
Of course.
But I don't regret that little era that I had with it and got to experience a scene that I missed out on when it first came out with Ark on PC. So,
man, I love Survival of the Fittest personally. Like, I definitely thought it was, per se, a little janky, but I personally really love the idea of Survival of the Fittest, like the Hunger Games, type thing. And I actually, I really enjoyed that. I love the Hunger Games personally, so.
Well, it's wild that when that came out, the Battle Royale scene, there was barely any competition. SOTIF could have been the #1 Battle Royale game without question when it first came out. And it should have. It should have. And I still think there's still scope for it. I've been trying to convince the team to integrate it with Club Ark somehow. So, because that's the one element that it's missing is a reward. Like right now you get nothing for winning a game. Just give us something. Like that's like, I can't believe it still hasn't been implemented 1 year on. There's nothing to achieve, nothing to brag about once you've killed every player and become the #1 winner of that match. It's crazy.
I agree.
With every competition, with every tournament, with every championship, there's a medal, there's a trophy, there's something that winner holds proudly in their hands to say, I did this, this is what I've achieved. And that doesn't exist in a game that's all about competition, in a game mode. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What is your favorite map? I gotta know.
Right now, for the longest time, originally it was the center because of the PvP elements fundamentally that I had and the love that I had for that back when. And just as a solo PvPer, being able to hide in so many crevices and, you could, I used to play on MTS back when, and I used to live in these little nooks and crannies, where I'd be there for weeks, literally weeks, without anybody running into me, and it was just so much fun. So for that reason alone, and it was such an underrated map. So many cool elements with that one that it's a shame the revival didn't go as well as I'd hoped it would with Ascended. But then Fjorda came out and I was a huge advocate of it before it came officially to Ark, and it just was the best map ever. It delivered everything. It was the most creative, it was the most adventurous map. It had all the creatures, of course. It was the map to play on for ASE. Right now, I would probably say Svartalfheim is the #1 map for me. I think the problem is Nakatas pulls at those Lord of the Rings strings and I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings, and it just you give me that little element of being a hobbit or whatever, and being able to adventure like one and get to experience those scenes within a game that I love playing. It's just hard to argue with that. But it's such a great, well-made, thought out map that it deserves its own merits that it's got, and Astraeus is seemingly going to surpass even that. You know, I think Nakatus is such an asset to the art community. You know, I'm very fortunate that I picked up on his talents like well before people started to know him, as well as he does now. And he's been very, very, very cool with me throughout his development cycle and the maps that he's making, and just us generally chatting about stuff. You know, that like now I've got a little Easter egg on Astraeus. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. Like there's a little
that's really
pretend
cool,
like figure of me like in a crack somewhere. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, man, I really love Nakatus. That you know, really, like you said. I mean, I wasn't necessarily, you know, probably as early as you were, but just even all the stuff he's done in general. And you know, we've talked about him a few times on the podcast. I've tried to get him to do some interviews, but you know, he doesn't want to, which is fine. He's a busy man. But truly, like the stuff he does is just, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, dude, he's ahead of the game. There's a reason why he's now employed as, I forget the position now, but he's like lead mod. I don't know the actual term for it, but he's like basically leading like mods for Nitrado now, which is really cool. I think he's like somehow consulting with other modders, and essentially, yeah, just being that tutor to newer modders on the scene, which is brilliant to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, yeah, Astraeus, watch this space, man. I'm looking forward to the premium version.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, that's it's such an interesting case study there, right? That Astraeus, when it came out, so many people believed that was going to be premium. People still do believe it's a premium mod. That I can't tell you how many people I've told it's free. It's free. It costs you nothing to play it, and there's become this developed expectation of it being a paid for mod, which is wild. You know, that we're already there.
I don't even have a good like productive answer to that, because I would expect it to be a premium mod. I would pay for it. Like, the fact that you don't have to pay for it is impressive. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, and it's a great marketing strategy that they're releasing this free version with. I expect the content that we see today. I don't know. This is me purely speculating, but I expect that's what you'll get, and then to unlock the rest of the map, you got to pay for the premium version, and your save does carry over to that premium version, which I didn't know about until recently. But that, I think that's such a great marketing strategy to sell that premium map. And again, right, I think that's fair as long as that's the fully adventurable map. Even though Mr. Nakatus is very talented, that's what I probably would be expecting. If I'm paying to unlock the rest of the map, then it's going to be the rest of the map, right? So we'll see. But I mean, his talents are undisputed anyway. So yeah.
Matt, do you have anything else you need to ask?
Damn.
Thank you.
Firstly, just congratulations to you guys. Happy anniversary.
Thanks, man.
You've been 1 year strong now, right?
Yeah, 1 year, man. I mean, we went over it in the podcast, but it's just truly, you know, 1 year full of all art content. It's just been, you know, a lot of ups and downs, but it's really been awesome.
That's wicked, man. And that's it. Keep plugging away. Keep driving it. Keep harassing people, tagging people. You know, that's how it works, guys. It really is. You know, sometimes you just got to be a bit persistent.
Yeah.
It's that balance, right, of being persistent but not getting on their nerves persistent.
Yes, I agree. That's a hard thing.
It really is. It really is. And I can speak from experience on that. Yeah. But keep doing it. You know, keep pushing people, because as said, like, you know, the last time you guys tagged me, I was like, okay, I need to set something up, man. So yeah, keep at it, guys, and keep pushing it without a doubt. And I hope this becomes more widely adopted by the community without a doubt. I see Svala's in here, so that's really cool. So you've got the devs watching. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Yeah, man. Our goal is to be on a crunch. I know there's no little podcast section. We don't do any videos. I've been trying to get on. We have been trying to get on the crunch forever.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because what you do is kind of unique there. That there's not really an element or a feature for it right now in the crunch. So I guess it's perhaps being creative there in how you can drive that then, right? If they don't have that feature, what do you need to do with this podcast to make it resemble the current features? Yeah? That's for you to figure out. I don't know what the answer is, so yeah, but there you go. That's probably what I'd say to you guys, yeah, is what have you got to do there to be a part of it, yeah. But yeah, keep going.
You said persistency.
I've seen you guys been popping up here, there, and everywhere.
Them together,
so
we're gonna make it through. See where we're at. From where we're at now compared to where we were a year ago, we've made leaps and bounds and strides in where we're going to be a year from today.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. So here is to the next year of Stranded Survivors. We could not have started it off in a better way. So thank you so much for being not only the first guest of season 3, but also this was a good conversation, man. This was fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh. I appreciate it, man. You're more than welcome. I just generally enjoy talking to anybody in the art community and anybody that's passionate about it, that shares the same interest that
I would like to get you back on an episode to do a tier list or something one day. We've had a request for like a weapon tier list and things like that.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Touche.
All right then. I mean, it's going to be difficult for me because I've done so many top 10s. At this point, I feel like I've exhausted like so many like top 10 ideas that it's almost like it's so difficult to even consider ranking or top 10ing anything anymore. Though, despite that contributed so much to my growth, that element you can only like repeat the same information about the same dino that gets voted number 1 every single time that you're like, I just gotta put that to bed, yeah. But I'd love to revive some form of top 10s because a lot of people still know me for that, and I really do enjoy that. I enjoy writing a script. I enjoy delivering that and trying to be creative in terms of words that I write, just as much as I'm trying to entertain in the moment on cam. And like top 10s is a great segue to do so. But yeah, it's just difficult to kind of understand how you can revitalize, rejuvenate that, something you feel like you've done to death, Yeah.
Well, Raz, we really, like Matt said, we truly appreciate you joining us, man. You're more than welcome to always join us on a future episode for anything. I know you're a busy man, so yes, I know it's hard. And you're also a crazy man. It's like 3 a.m. your time. You're sitting here doing a podcast with, people you've maybe seen on, your Twitter just a few times. And it's been a great conversation. And we couldn't have asked, for a better conversation to have. And just thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
No, I've said everything that I have said.
Matt, is there anything you have for anybody?
Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Okay, I'm back. So sorry, my boss called me.
Honestly, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to have me on. It really has been.
I don't even remember what I was saying at this point. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, telling everybody, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you staying up so late for us because I know there's this big old time gap. So everybody that stayed this long. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I hope everybody has a fantastic week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I throw in one? When does this podcast come out?
I would say within the next few days.
Next few days, cool. Well, I'm just going to throw in a plug.
Oh, of course.
Hey, there we go. Friday the 1st, I think. Is it the 1st? Friday the 1st, me and Aaron Longstaff are raising money for Extra Life on behalf of Studio Wildcard. Make sure to go check us out and help us reach a ridiculous amount, but for a very, very good cause, where we're going to be doing some stupid things under some crazy Ark challenges that I'm looking forward to. So hopefully we'll see you there.
Survivors, make sure to go check that out. We're going to tag everything in the description and on Spotify and everything that we posted on. Again, thank you, Raz. Survivors, keep on surviving and have a great week.